Guys, in the last session, we discussed about the mini project implementation for service layer implementation we have done. So we have taken couple of methods in the service classes and we are able to implement those methods also. The business logic we have implemented, and today we need to implement the controllers and UI part for our application. Okay, as discussed, for this application, we need two controllers. One is to handle with counselors functionality. Another one is to handle with inquiry functionality. So I'm going to create controller classes, new class. These controllers I'm going to keep in a separate package, dot controllers. So the class name I'm taking as counselor controller, right? Another one is inquiry controller, new class inquiry controller, right? To represent these classes as a controller classes, we are going to use one annotation called @controller annotation. One annotation we are using @controller. So inside this controller, we are going to write a method public string index method, right? So it is going to return index page. It is going to return index page, and here I'm taking model object as a parameter. So this model is basically used to send the data from controller to UI part. So it is mapped to get request. I'm using @get mapping annotation. So I'm not mapping to any URL pattern. I'm giving one empty URL pattern here. I'm giving one empty URL pattern here. Counselor controller I'm taking, okay, which is having index method. It is returning index page. So the index method is returning a string. That string represents the logical view name. So this is a view name, returning view name. What is the view page that you want to return? That return value we are giving, and the model object is available. If you want to send any data from the controller to UI, then we can use this model object. Now, so we need to create the template. Okay, so inside the templates folder, I'm creating one file which is index.html, right? Index.html file I'm creating. So we are using HTML in order to develop our presentation logic. So in this HTML, I want to use Bootstrap also. In this HTML, I want to use Bootstrap also. To use a Bootstrap in this HTML, go to getbootstrap.com website. Getbootstrap.com website is available. Go to the documentation in this getbootstrap.com. Go to the docs, then come down here. Include Bootstrap CSS and JS. So the code is available. You can use this code. This code will give you Bootstrap related JavaScript file, Bootstrap related CSS files for you. The benefit of this Bootstrap, predefined CSS classes will be available to make our UI pages more beautiful. Okay, so simple. You need to go to a website, that is getbootstrap.com. In that getbootstrap.com, docs available. In that docs, so this is a basic index.html without Bootstrap. Now this is index.html with Bootstrap. So this is basic HTML without Bootstrap. This is our HTML with Bootstrap. So copy this Bootstrap HTML and keep it here, index.html. So in our index.html, two things are mainly important here. One is CSS. So Bootstrap CSS we are including, Bootstrap CSS file, and the next one Bootstrap JS file also. So Bootstrap min.css file available, Bootstrap bundle min.js file is available. So with this, our HTML file is ready, that is having Bootstrap. Now here h1 tag is available. When you are working with Bootstrap, okay, fine, index.html file is available, right? Now let me simply start the application and test it. Counselor controller having one index method, which is having empty URL pattern. It is returning index page. In the templates folder, I have created that index page. index.html, so a basic HTML page available with Bootstrap. Okay, now let me go here and run this application. So run as boot application, run as Spring Boot application. Yeah, application started, and you can see that tables also created because of DDL auto. Counselor table got created, inquiry table also created, and here it is establishing foreign key constraint. Inquiry table is having counselor ID as a foreign key. Now you can go to the database and you can verify. Here we are not creating the tables manually. Based on the entity classes, the tables are generated. Based on our entity classes, the tables are generated, that is auto DDL concept. Based on the entity classes, the tables are generated, which is auto DDL concept. All right. Now, so let us go to our database. We are using database JRTP27. Use JRTP27. Show the tables. Now, counselor table, inquiry table is available. Select star from counselor. Select a star from counselor table, right? So there is no data available. The next one, select a star from inquiry table. Select a star from inquiry table. So tables are created. If you observe inside the inquiry table, counselor ID is generated. That is a foreign key relationship. That is fine. Now, so application started. Go and access index URL pattern. So that is localhost colon 8080 localhost colon 8080 slash. I'm not giving any URL pattern for that. Okay, hello world is coming. So this hello world, currently whatever the hello world is coming, that does not have any margin here. Okay, so from very starting of the page, the hello world message is printed. I want to get some margin for the page. So to get the margin for the page, right, whatever the content you are writing, so you need to keep that content inside one div, guys. Div class is equal to container. So if you use div class is equal to container, then inside the container div, you keep your data. So if you directly keep your data, the alignment and the margins are not good. So that's why we are taking one div class is equal to container. Inside the container div, I'm keeping my data. Now you see the margin is coming properly. And here, this is responsive also. Whatever that we are developing with the Bootstrap, by default, it is responsive as well. So this container div is available. Now in this container div, we need to develop our form. We need to develop our form inside the container div. So here I will keep the message as h1 some login here. h1 login here. I'm developing this one. All right. Next one, we need to develop a form, guys. So to develop a form, so we are going to take a form tag. We are going to take a form tag. The form tag will contain some action attribute, and the form will contain some method also. And inside the form, we are going to take a table. Inside the table, tr will be available. Inside the tr, td will be available. Inside the td, I'm asking to enter email and td. So we are going to take input type is equal to email. Input type is equal to email. All right, and input type is equal to email. Name is equal to something. We are going to give this as the email field. And the next one, password will be available. Now input type is equal to email and password I'm going to ask. Right here, input type is equal to password, name is equal to some value. Then I want to display one button here. Okay, so to display the button, input type is equal to submit. Input type is equal to submit, and button text I am going to give something like this, value is equal to login, right? So this is my login form I am developing. So in the index page, I am writing a login form. So if you observe, inside this index.html, I have taken a div that is a container div that will give the margins. Inside the container, I am displaying one heading login here. Then I am developing one form tag. Form will contain action and a method. Inside the form, I'm taking a table. Inside the table, tr. Inside the tr, td is available. TD, table row, table data. So a table is available. Inside the table, I'm taking table row. Inside the table row, I'm taking two columns. One is a label and another one is a field. Now go and refresh here, right? With this, we are getting login page. The login page is coming, right? Now for this login page, the button is not looking good. I want to change the button color. So for this, bootstrap styles are available, right? So now we need to give a class. Class is equal to button and give the button class as button primary. Okay, so class is equal to button primary. All these classes you can get from the bootstrap. Get to bootstrap.com, go to the documentation. Here the options available, forms related, components related, and buttons related options will be available, so you can search for that. Okay, so I want to know about buttons in the bootstrap. Yes, so when you want to work with the buttons, so these are the classes available for the buttons. So if you want the button with the blue color, the class is primary. If you want to work with the secondary button, button class is equal to button secondary. If you want to work with the green color button, success. Red color button, danger. Yellow color button, warning. Information, info. Light color, light button. Black color button, button dark is available. If you want to display a button with a hyperlink, button link is available. So if you, whatever the styles you want to apply for your pages with the bootstrap, go to the bootstrap documentation. So all the components will be available, so based on your requirement. Okay, if you want to go with the forms, form control will be available. You want to display the form with the form control. So you want to display the form like this. For this HTML, they are giving like this. Class is equal to form control. So for this form, if you give the class is equal to form control, then the display is going to change. Now refresh. Yes, the form fields got changed. The style of the fields got changed. Form control class I have given for that. And the label also, you can change it in the different way. So label for form control, class is equal to form label. Class is equal to form label. So if you give label tag instead of td, you can give a div options, you can give labels, you can give for that. Sizing also you can modify. Okay, if you want the select drop downs, then form class is equal to form select, you can give. Checks and radio buttons, for that also the requirement based on this you can have. Now I am dealing with the button. So when you are going with the button, different types of buttons you can use. So which color button you want, based on that you need to add the class for that. So I want a blue color button, so I'm taking the class button primary. So now you can see my button is coming as a primary button for the login page here. All right, so button class is equal to button primary I'm taking. Now this is basic HTML form that we are developing. So now, and remember one point guys, when we are developing this form, basic HTML form, so input type is equal to email, input type is equal to password we are giving, and action and a method. So always when we are submitting the form, we are going to use as a post method. Method is equal to post. So that form data will go in the request body. Form data will go in the request body format. Method is equal to post. And action. When you submit this form, what should happen? Go to counselor controller. Here we need to write one method which is going to handle login functionality in our application. So I'm writing one method, public string login method. Okay, so I'm going to map this to post request method @ post mapping. post mapping slash login. Post mapping slash login. So here login method I'm developing. It is responsible to validate the user credentials are valid or not. It is responsible to validate user credentials are valid or not. Now, so there are two things here. If user credentials are valid, then it should go to the dashboard page. If the user credentials are invalid, it should display the error message. Okay. For this, I need to talk to service class here, private counselor service. I'm injecting the service object, counselor service object I'm injecting. Okay, you can go with the constructor and you can perform constructor injection. I'm taking counselor service as a parameter. Then this dot counselor service is equal to counselor service. Dependency injection will happen through constructor. Now login. So login functionality. I'm expecting the email ID and password from the form. So when they submit the form, right? So form name, email ID and password will be available and they are going to submit the form. Here you can do one thing, form binding. Okay, so I want to map this form to counselor object. So if you want to perform the form binding, then you need to follow some technique, right? So I have a counselor object here. The counselor class is available. So let me take this counselor.java. Inside the counselor class, there are some variables available, name, email, password, phone number. Like this, there are some variables available inside the counselor class, right? So this is our counselor class. Inside this counselor class, there are some variables available. Now, these variables I want to map with the form. These are my variables in the counselor class. And these variables I want to map with the name. I want to map with the email field. Okay. So currently password field. Name is not available. Email and password fields are available. And this is a login page, right? So this is a login page which contains only two fields, email and password. And we are having login button. Now we need to do the form binding. We need to do the form binding. In order to perform the form binding, this name field, or sorry, email field, this email field I want to map to the email variable and the password variable I will map to the password field. This is called form binding. This is called form binding. So in the time leaf, how we will perform this form binding? To perform the form binding, so first thing, the class will be mapped to the form by using one component that is called th::object. th::object is used, which is used to map our Java class object to the form, and every field we will map to this one by using th::field option. To map the object to the form, we are going to use th::object. To map one variable to the field, we are going to use th::field option. th::field option we are going to use to do the mapping. So this is called form binding. So I want to map my object data to the form. I want to map form data to the object. So two-way data binding. Form data I want to represent in the object format. Object data I want to represent in the form. So then we need to go for form binding concept in the Spring Boot. So to do this form binding, we are going to use time leaf attributes. One is th::object. Next one is th::field. th::object we are going to use and th::field also we are going to use. th::object and th::field we are going to use here in order to perform the form binding. Now, to do this form binding in the controller, first step. So we are taking a model object, right? We need to create binding object first. Counselor object is equal to new counselor. Counselor is equal to new counselor object I am creating. Then model dot add attribute key comma value. So I'm taking this as a counselor and the parameter is object I'm creating and I'm setting the data. So sending data from controller to UI. So why I am sending empty controller object? So empty counselor object here, empty counselor object I am sending for binding. So whenever index page is loaded, then the login page will come. Whenever the index page is loaded, the login page will come. Login page data I want to map to counselor object. So that's why I'm creating one counselor object. I'm setting the counselor object to the model object. Model is used to send the data from controller to UI in the form of key and value. Using this key, I can access this value. Take this key, go to index.html. So here form action, I will give this as th colon action, and I will give this as th colon object, th colon object, th colon action. So instead of name, we are going to give here th colon field. Here also we will give this as th colon field. So I am mapping my form to the Java object. Th colon action in the sense what is the URL pattern you want to call. So whenever this form is submitted, I want to call the login URL pattern. I want to call the login URL pattern, right? So when you submit this form, then the request should go to login method /login is available. When this method is called, index page will be loaded. When I am loading the index page, I'm sending the counselor object to the UI. Empty counselor object I'm sending. Why I am sending empty counselor object? To do the form binding, right? Now go here, index.html action, th colon object dollar of key. I'm sending counselor object in the form of key and value. This is my key counselor, value empty counselor object. By using this key, I am mapping the object to the form. Okay, th colon field star of field name. So in this counselor object, which field you want to map? The email data should be mapped to email variable. So let us go to th colon field is equal to email. Th colon field password star. Password field data you want to map to which variable? PWD variable. So with this we are able to do the form binding. With this we are able to do the form binding. Th colon action is equal to login. Th colon object is equal to counselor. Method is equal to post. So input type is email. Field is equal to email. Input type is equal to password. Field is equal to password. Are you guys able to understand the action, the object, the method, and the field? So we are developing HTML form using time leaf, and we are doing form binding here. What is the meaning of form binding? Mapping object data to the form and mapping form data to the object. In order to do the form binding, we are using th colon object, th colon field. So inside the counselor controller, I am injecting counselor service by using auto wiring, right? Through constructor. I'm injecting the dependent object into my target object. I'm injecting the dependent object into target object, private counselor service. So here through constructor, I have injected. The next one, string index method is available. So I'm creating object for the counselor, empty object I'm creating because I want to display form with the empty fields. Once you enter the data, then the data will be stored into the object. Whatever the data you enter in the login form, email ID and password, whatever you enter, that data will come into my object directly. Form binding will happen. So in order to do the form binding, th object we are using, th field we are using. That means which object you want to map to which form. For that we will use a th object. And in the object, multiple variables. In the form, multiple fields. Which field should be mapped to which variable? We are doing that mapping by using th colon field. Okay, so we are sending one empty object to the index page, and in that index page we are mapping th colon object, the key, th colon field, the variables. Are you clear with my index method, guys?
Yeah, Ashok,
Sir,
one thing here.
what is the left hand side one, sir? In the mapping.
This is a key and this is value, sir. Key is the string, value is the object. That we are
Right, sir.
creating one empty object and we are sending to the UI. So that
So
means
in the
the index page is available. Inside the index page, you can access this counselor object by using this key.
okay, sir. That is what in the diagram, sir. That
Correct.
left hand side and right
So
hand
this
side.
is object and this is form. There is a relation between the form and object. This is called
Counselor
form
object.
binding.
Counselor object, right, sir? Left hand
Correct.
one. Entity object, right, sir?
Entity object.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So object I am creating, object I am mapping to the form.
Yeah, Ashok, can you go to the HTML screen once? Can you please?
Yep, this is my HTML.
Yeah, sure. So actually, we are binding this form HTML and the Java class, right? So by
Correct.
default, the object will take the entire the entity of that particular Java, and based
Correct.
upon the field we can get. So basically,
Correct.
if you mention like,
Whatever the fields you enter, those fields data will be stored into object.
okay, so the line number 21, the email directly think get from the object.
Yes, whatever the email you enter in the login page will be stored into counselor object directly. You don't need to write the logic to capture the data, request that get parameter, that is not required. We are mapping counselor object to this form, right? So whatever the email you enter, it will store it into counselor object.
Okay.
Whatever password you enter, it will store into counselor object.
Okay, so we are not okay. So it is empty object, and we are posting the value with the counselor. Okay.
Correct. Whenever you submit the form, whatever the data that you enter in the email and password, when you click on the login button, these two fields data will be stored into your counselor object directly.
Okay. After that, it will call the action. Okay, so we have object
It will
action.
store the data into object and it will call the action.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So now
when we call this
action, when we call the action, it will go to that login method. Now inside the login method, what we need? We need form data. Form data already mapped to object. So I'm going to take this object back, counselor object I want to get, counselor object. Okay. Then I'm taking again model object. So in this login method is mapped to post request, guys. When the form is submitted, a post request will come. Counselor object I'm taking and a model object I'm taking. Inside the counselor object, email and password will be available. And let me call my counselor service dot login. So in the counselor object, I will get the get email and get password. Counselor.get email, counselor.get password. So I am taking from this binding object. Whenever the form is submitted, the form data will be stored into my object, and my object I am taking as a parameter. With this object, I am getting the email and I am getting the password and I am calling the login method. So the login method is a service layer method. They are checking with the given email ID and password, record is available or not. If the record is available, they will return counselor object for me. Okay, that counselor object may available, may not available. So if I get the counselor object, that means it is a valid login, otherwise it is invalid login. If it is equal to null, that means there is no record available with the given email ID and password. If there is no record available with the given email ID and password, then what is the meaning of that? It is a invalid credentials. Model dot add attribute. I'm going to send some error message saying that invalid credentials. I'm going to send one error message saying that invalid credentials. Suppose if it is a valid login, then different scenario. Return index. All right. Now, so I'm going to check it. I'm going to check it first when the login is clicked. Whenever you go and submit this login form, right? Whenever you submit this login form, with this given email ID and password, I will verify record is available in the database or not. Suppose if record is not available, I'm not getting the counselor object. If the counselor object is equal to null, that means it is a invalid credentials and I will return index page. Suppose if it is not null, the credentials are valid. If credentials are valid, that means it is a valid login. If it is a valid login, then what I need to do here, if it is a valid login,
Open the
I'm
dashboard.
going to get the dashboard, right? Counselor service dot get dashboard info based on c dot get counselor ID. So I'm going to get the dashboard response. I'm going to get the dashboard response. Then model dot add attribute key comma value. So this is dashboard info. Okay. So dashboard object. So that the dashboard object I'm sending to the UI, and I'm going to return one more page which is called dashboard page. You look at this, guys. So I have created two methods in the controller now. One is index method. This index method is used to display login page only. This index method is used to display login page. So to display the login page, I'm creating object for the counselor and I'm sending empty object to the UI. Why I am sending empty object to the UI? To do the binding. So my object is mapped to the form. Why we are mapping object to the form? To capture form data easily, we are mapping object to the form. So whenever you submit this login button, email password fields data will be stored into counselor object and object will come back to us. So whenever you post that form, whenever you submit that form, this login method will be called. It is a post request method. This method is taking object, form binding object. Form is already mapped to counselor object. So when you submit that form, that counselor object will come as a parameter, and I'm taking this model. What is this counselor object? It is used to take the form data. Form data will be mapped in the form of this object, and the model, it is used to send the data from controller to UI. Here in the index method, we are sending empty object. Now by using this model, if invalid credentials, then I will send a error message. If credentials are valid, then I'm getting the dashboard object data based on the counselor ID. I'm setting dashboard object in the form of key and value. Then I'm returning dashboard page. I'm returning dashboard page. If it is an error message, I'm returning the same page. If credentials are invalid, I will return the same index page, login page only, and I will display error message. If credentials are valid, then I will send the dashboard information and I am returning the view page name as dashboard. So let me take this error message key. Let's go to index.html. Let us display the error message. Okay, font will have a style color. I will give this as red. Okay, then pth colon text is equal to dollar of error message. If credentials are invalid, then it will display the error message in the red color. Now if the credentials are valid, then it should go to dashboard page, new file. I'm creating one more HTML page, which is dashboard.html. So this is dashboard.html. This is dashboard page under development. Okay, we will do that later. Under development, dashboard.html page is ready. Now let me go and test this login functionality. Currently no record available, credentials are invalid, error message should come on the same page. So I will keep a breakpoint here to check whether credentials are valid or not, right? If credentials are valid, dashboard page will come. If credentials are invalid, error message will come on the same page. Look at the login method again, guys. First index method, which is going to display the empty page, and whenever you submit that page, then this login method will be called. So the login method is taking object as a parameter. It is a binding object and a model object. This is input we are getting after form submitted, and this is used to send the data. Model dot add attribute key comma value. Model is used to simple. Model is a map key value. It is used to send the data from controller to UI. Model is used to send the data from controller to UI. So if credentials are valid, I will send dashboard page as a response. If credentials are invalid, I will send error message to the same page. Are you guys able to understand this post method, login method?
So should we use model attribute annotation in the counselor to read the counselor?
Sorry, can you come again?
Sir, can we use model attribute annotation in the login?
Yeah, you can use it. If you want to read the form data, here you can use model attribute also. Without that also it will work.
So without this annotation, it will work.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Guys, are you able to understand login? So we are getting the form data and we are checking the login credentials are valid or not. With the given email ID and password, if the counselor is available, that means valid. If a counselor is not available, that means invalid. If a counselor object is null, then model attribute invalid credentials, else dashboard page will come as a response. It's very simple. We are checking credentials are valid or not. If credentials are valid, okay. If credentials are not valid, error message. If credentials are invalid, error message on the same page. If credentials are valid, dashboard page will come as a response. Are you guys able to follow me?
Sir, that counselor service you auto-aware at the top, sir. Can you go scroll up?
Yes, sir.
The constructor injection.
Oh,
Through constructor injection, we are injecting counselor service object into counselor controller. So as there is a single constructor available, no need to write @auto-void. By default, counselor service object will be injected into counselor controller.
Sir,
And to represent our Java class as a controller, we are using @controller annotation.
we can use response controller, sir.
Response body is not required here, sir. The purpose of response body is different. When you don't want to send UI page as a response, when you want to send the direct response, then you can use response body. But in our requirement, we are dealing with the UI pages, so response body is not required.
Okay, sir.
Sir, to work with the timely, we don't need to require a global path to work with
To
controller
work
path.
with timely,
We don't need to go with a global path. Is it
No.
required or?
not required.
Hello, sir. I'm a bit confused here. So, hello.
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah. So, at first, when we are putting URL with slash, okay, it
Yeah,
is
this
opening
is
the
for
index
loading
page.
the login page, empty page.
Yeah, correct. Okay. So, and if we enter the, let's say, wrong credential, so it will take e-message. Okay, that invalid credential.
Correct.
So at first, in index.html, there is no value for e-message. So what we'll do for that?
Sir, this is
In
the method which will load the page for you. There you will enter email ID and password. You will click on submit button. When you click on the submit button, then the request will come to this method. This method will take your form data, email ID and password. It will verify your credentials are valid or not. If credentials are invalid, you will get the error message on the same page. If credentials are valid, it will send you to the dashboard page. It is simple, right? If you just read the code, you will understand. What is here to get confused? One method is available to display the page. Another method is available to handle the button. That's it. Where you are not able to understand.
but at very first, there is no value for
Go to HTML page so you can understand the show.
Sir, this HTML is basic HTML which will display the empty page for you. That's it. You will not enter, by default empty page will come for you. Then you will enter email ID, you will enter password, you will click on button. When you click on button, then the request will go to this post request method. It will take your form data in the form of object. With that email ID password that you entered, it will validate your credentials available in the database or not. If credentials are available in the database, then you will go to dashboard. If credentials are not available in the database, you will get error message on the same page.
Yeah, sir, that I understand.
For the timely, do we need to import any
Not
library?
required, sir. No need to import anything.
Sir, what is the DB object here, sir?
This is the object, so dashboard response.
The above one. Okay. Okay.
Tag is also not required in a .html file.
Sorry,
Timely tag. Timely tag also not required in a HTML file.
timely.
Tag or like a like www dot or
No, not
something
required.
Hibernate,
Not
not required.
required. This is our HTML page.
So that dashboard response is a predefined or a custom class we have written.
We created a custom class, sir. It is our binding class.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
Sir,
now let's
model
try.
should be the second parameter,
Sorry.
or can we use as a model should be the second parameter, or can we
Yes,
use
sir.
it
Model
as a
should
first
be the
parameter?
last parameter always. You can take any
So it
number of
should not-
parameters. Model is the last parameter, which is used to send that. Model is basically a map. If you see model is a map which is used to send the data to the UI in the form of key and value.
We need to follow the same order.
Yeah, same order.
Parameter.
Yes.
It should be last. Okay.
Now
Okay.
let's try this. Let's try to execute it. After execution, if anybody not able to understand, let me know. We will discuss. Debug as a boot application. Currently, definitely invalid credentials will come because we don't have any data in the database, guys. Registration is not completed. We need to implement the registration functionality also. Select star from counselor table. Currently, there is no record available. So definitely we will get the empty object. Okay. Clear the console. My application is started. Clear this. Now, first empty URL pattern, localhost colon 8080. So I'm getting empty page, right? Now enter some email ID and enter some password, right? Click on login. So there is a breakpoint and debugging is enabled. So the request is coming. Now you check the counselor object. So currently you verify in the counselor object, whatever the data I entered in the form, email ID and password is coming into my object or not. Am I capturing the form data manually or form data is mapped to object directly?
Mapped to the object.
Mapped to the object directly.
Mapped to the object directly. How the form data is mapped to the object directly? Because of the binding concept. Because of the binding. Counselor object I map it to the form by using th:_object, and class variables I map it to the form fields by using th:_field. Email variable map it to email field. Password variable map it to password field. Okay, so because of this form binding, whenever I submit the form, whatever email I entered, whatever the password I entered, I'm getting in the form of counselor object. So with this object parameters, with this object data, I'm calling login method. So it is going to execute a query with the database. Find by email and password. Find by email and password. So it is going to retrieve the record from the database table with the given email ID and password. Let's check what is going to happen. Yes, it executed one query. Select star from counselor table where email ID is equal to given value, password is equal to given value. So inside this counselor controller, we are calling counselor service login method. Counselor service login method is calling repository method, which is a find by method. Find by email ID and password. It is a custom method I have created. The find by method. Query will be executed like this. Select a star from table where email ID is equal to given value, password is equal to given value. So with this, you check it, counselor object. So are we getting the counselor object with the given data, or we are not getting the counselor object with the given data?
Cannot get
There is
the
entry is not there, sir.
So that means, can I consider this as invalid credential if the object is empty?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
C is
If
null.
object is empty.
Yes, C is null. Credentials are not matching, C is null. Then F6. What is the purpose of model.add attribute, guys?
We share the data to
It
the
will
user.
show
Send
on
to
Send
the
the data from controller to UI in the form of key and value. Then return index page. Okay, F8. So we are going to the same page and we are getting the message as invalid credentials. Right? So we are submitting the form by entering the email ID and password. Anything, any mail ID you enter. Currently, there is no data in the table. So if you submit, you will get a message as invalid credentials only. Because with this data, there is no information available in the database. With this data, there is no information available in the database. So that is the reason we are getting the error as invalid credentials. Are you able to understand login functionality in our project? Two methods I have taken for login functionality. One is index method with the empty URL. So when you access localhost colon 8080 slash empty login page will come. All right. Then here you can keep these fields are mandatory fields. Like this, you can make them required. So without entering the data, you should not be able to submit the form. I'm keeping these input fields are required fields, mandatory fields. Refresh. Now, if you want to submit, it is expecting this field is mandatory. If you give without @Gmail, without symbol, that email will not accept in the email address, right? So @gmail.com or something like this. Password. If I submit without giving the password, it is asking, please fill out this field. So if you enter the data, then only the form will be submitted and it is validating your credentials are valid or not. So it is taking your form data into object, counselor object. With that object, it is verifying credentials are available. Is there any record available in the database with the given email ID and password? If record is not available, error message, invalid credentials on the same page. If record is available, then it will go to the dashboard page. And here, one important thing, once the user logged in, you observe, once the user log in, they will go to the dashboard page. From that, in the dashboard page, we are displaying that data based on the ID. Then add inquiry, view inquiry is available. When we are adding the inquiry, counselor ID is required. When we are displaying the inquiry, counselor ID is required. When we are filtering the inquiries, counselor ID is required. So that's why once a counselor logged in successfully, we need to store it is valid login, store counselor ID in session. So once the login is successful, then counselor can perform adding the inquiry, view the inquiries, filter the inquiries. So when we are going for view inquiries, logged in counselor display inquiries based on logged in counselor. So the inquiries added by the logged in counselor only should display and save the inquiry. That inquiry requires counselor ID as a foreign key. Dashboard data based on logged in counselor only. So once the login is successful, we need to store counselor ID in the session. So how to create the session? To create the session, I'm going to take HTTP servlet request object as a parameter. HTTP servlet request, okay, request object I am taking. By using this request object, I will get the session object request dot get session. So when you are going for get session, true means always new session object will come. HTTP session I am getting, then session dot set attribute. So I'm going to store counselor ID in the session. So then c dot get counselor ID. Once the login is successful, I'm storing counselor ID in the session object. Why we need to store counselor ID in the session object, guys? Because after login, there are some other operations available. Counselor can add the inquiry, counselor can see the inquiries, counselor can filter the inquiries. To add the inquiry, to see the inquiries, to filter the inquiries, counselor ID is required. So that's why once the login is successful, I will get the counselor object. With the given email ID and password, I will get the counselor object. So if the valid login, then store the counselor ID in the session for future purpose. For future purpose. What is that future purpose? To add the inquiry based on the counselor ID. To retrieve the inquiries based on the counselor ID, I need a counselor ID. So that is the reason once the login is successful, I'm storing counselor ID in the session. How I am getting this session object? To get the session object, I'm taking servlet request object as a parameter. Request.get session of true. So I'm going to create a new session here. Then in that session, I'm setting my attribute in the form of key and value. In future, when we are adding the inquiry, you can get the counselor ID from the session. When you are displaying the inquiries, you can get the counselor ID from the session. If the login is valid, then only I will store counselor ID in the session. So for every login, one session object will be created. If 3 counselors log in, then 3 sessions will be created. For every session, counselor ID will be available. When they log out, then I will remove this object from the session. When they log in successfully, I will store counselor ID in the session, so that when I'm adding the inquiry, when I'm displaying the inquiries, I can get the ID from the session. Without this ID, we can't add the inquiry, we can't display the inquiries. Are you guys able to follow me? Why I am storing counselor ID in the session? Guys?
For the future purpose, we have to store
So
that.
why we are adding the counselor ID in the
Get
session?
the inquiries.
How we,
Sir,
why
could you
we
please
are
explain
adding
once again,
counselor
sir?
ID in the session?
Whenever we add the inquiries and get the inquiries based on the controller counselor ID. So that's why we
Sorry?
are stored the.
I did not
You
get you.
want
Can
to
you come again?
display, sir, when we say session, so it gets stored into cookies or somewhere.
Session object we are creating, session will be stored.
Okay.
That session will be available in the server.
Yeah, sure. So the session will be available until we log out the application, right?
Yes, right.
So
when
if
we
you have
log out, we need to clear the session object.
yeah, okay. So if you have, I think, multiple, I think, HTML pages, so whenever we click, right, we can take this, I think, value with the help of the object to all the pages, right? It will not explain.
In the entire application, wherever you want, you can access the session object.
Okay. So is it possible to set the session expiry time whenever getting?
We
Or
can do that also. We can set it. Session
also
expiry time also we can set.
set. Okay, okay. Thank you.
Ashok sir, is it good to set entire council object or
No, I'm
council
not setting
ID?
the entire counselor object, sir. I'm setting only ID. If you see line number 47, am I storing the entire object or only ID?
Only ID.
Only ID I am setting. If you want, you can store the entire object also, no problem. But we don't need it. We need only ID. So ID I am storing in the session. Is it clear?
So what is that true is doing inside get session?
True
What
means
is
it is
actual
always it will create a new session, sir. So get session will take true and false. False means if the session is already available, it will give you. True means it will create a new session object. So when they log in, I want to create a new session.
Sir, in the last filter screen, we have 2 other filter things, right, sir? Do we need to set those things also in the session, sir? The other 2, the status and the other one?
Not required, sir.
Sir, does this counselor ID will be stored in database or not, sir?
Will be stored, sir. Whenever you register, for your registration, one ID will be generated. That ID will be available in the database. That is a primary key.
It will be auto
generated. Yes.
Based
So
on
that sorry, that session also we are writing session dot set attribute and c dot get counselor ID. I mean, session also work based on which counselor is login.
Correct, sir. Every login for every browser, one session will be available, sir. If you log in from Chrome browser, one session will be created. If you log in from Firefox browser, one more session will be created. For every login, one session will be created.
So what is session here?
HTTP session, sir. It is a web component. Any data that you want to access in the entire application, anywhere in the application, there you will go with the session. It is a servlet topic.
Sir, how long the session remains?
So there is no limit here. We are not setting any limit. So once you log out, generally, when user log in, we will create the session. When user log out, we will close the session. If you close your browser, then your session will be removed.
For the first time login, it will extract
Create a
the
new session.
ID from the database and it will store in the session, sir.
Correct.
Next time onwards, we are not required to hit the database. It will come from the session.
Which one?
The counselor ID.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Sir, if the request is secured one HTTPS protocol, then also this HTTP session will work.
Yes.
Okay.
And here we can write one more method, public void string logout. Okay. So when you are going for logout method, when user performs some operation, okay, get mapping slash logout, get mapping double quotes, right? Yeah, logout. So here I'm going to take HTTP servlet request comma request object. I need this. Now what I will do, request dot get session. So when you go for logout, I will go for existing session. I will not go for new session. I will get the session object. Then I'm going to use a method called session dot invalidate, which is used to remove the session. After session is removed, then I will return back to index page, or I will simply say redirect to slash. It will go back to the index page. So whenever you click on logout in the application, then I am getting the existing session object and I am calling session.invalidate. That means I am removing the session. So once I remove the session will be removed. The data available in the session also will be removed. Then redirect colon slash. What is the meaning of redirect colon slash? When you click logout, then it will be redirected to index method. Then it will create empty counselor object, will set to the UI and will go to the index page. Redirect colon slash means it will be redirecting the request to this first method, then it will display the index page for us. So when you click logout, I am removing the session, invalidate the session, get existing session and invalidate it. That means remove the session. Then after redirect to login page. Redirect to login page. This is our logout functionality. So in our application, once you log in, then logout button will be displayed. When you click on the logout, I am removing the session. Then I am redirecting the user to the login page. So if you directly give index, then again form binding is required, right? So that's why I'm not returning index directly. I'm redirecting to the index method. So when I redirect to the index method, that what will happen? Again, this logic will execute and it will go to the index page. This is logout functionality.
So
Here,
sorry,
if we are login with some counselor ID in login, so in new tab again we tried and session is on, so no need to put credential. It will automatically we will go on that.
Yes, sir. When you open that in the next page, right, it will not happen. So because in same browser, multiple tabs will same session object.
Okay, that is the actual process.
Yes.
Sir,
for every browser,
redirect?
one session object will be available. When you log out, you need to delete the session and you need to send the user back to the login page. All good?
Sir, why you are giving the colon and the backslash, sir? I did not understand the redirect part here, sir.
Sir, for the redirecting, this is the URL pattern, sir.
Oh, so we are sending there.
Yes. We are redirecting to this method. That's it.
Okay, then it again maps to that counselor.
Correct.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay. Are you guys clear with this point now?
Yes, sir.
Now, next one, we need to implement registration functionality, right? Login is available. Now we need to implement registration functionality. So to implement the registration functionality, again here we need to write ahref is equal to register. Click here to register. One hyperlink I am giving. in the login page. One hyperlink I'm giving in the login page. So when they click on that hyperlink, registration page should come like this. Registration page should come. Again, two methods are required. One method to display the page, one method to handle form submission. One method to display the page, one method to handle form submission. So my application is started. Just let's go here and refresh. 8080 slash. Yeah, login page is coming. Here there is the option. Click here to register. So when I click on this hyperlink, then I want to display the empty page first. Then if you submit, then registration should happen. So again, we need to write two methods in the controller. One method to display the registration page. One method to display the registration page. Okay. So here we are going to stop the server and let me do this. Public string register page. Okay, I'm going to take model object as a parameter, then return register. Let us map it to the get request because just form should be displayed. Empty form should be displayed here. Register. So we need to send the binding object. For how we are sending binding object to the login page? In the same way, we need to send the binding object for registration page also. Slash register is available. So I'm taking model as a parameter. I'm creating counselor object. I'm setting the counselor object to the model, add attribute key comma value, return register, right? So then what will happen? The empty registration page will open along with this binding object. Now, so let us go to our index.html is available, right? Similarly, I need to create a form. So copy the index.html, rename it register.html. So same thing we are going to use. Bootstrap will be there. Form binding will be available. Register here. Okay. Red color message and green color message. Colon red is available. This time I will use some green. Success message will come in the green color. If it is a E message means error message will come in the red color. If it is S message, success message will come in the green color. Now here I will give the URL pattern as register, counselor object post, email password is available. Before this, we need to take the name is required for registration. Input type is equal to text, field is equal to name, email, password, phone number. Okay, so here let us give this one as phone number field. Input type is equal to number, th field is equal to phone number. Form binding. Then value is equal to register, and here we will give one hyperlink. href is equal to slash, click here to login. That's it. So this is register page. So when you go and click on this URL, like basically click register, then it will go to the register URL pattern available in the controller. So I'm creating one new object for the counselor for the binding purpose. Then I am sending that counselor object to the UI and I am returning register URL. So what is this register view? Register view again having a form. Okay. So register here, success message, failure message, slash register is the action URL, binding object, post method. In the login page, we have only email and password. In the registration page, name and phone number extra. Register button is available and click here to login. Right? Let us see the register page is coming or not. Form handling is not there. Just page will display or not. Let us check it. Let us see the page is going to display or not. Clear this. Go here, refresh. Login page is coming. You enter some data in the login, submit. Invalid credential because record is not available. So you need to register now. Click here to register. Yes, registration page is coming. So if you click on this, fields are mandatory. Click here to login, click here to register. So register page is coming. Now we need to implement registration functionality. So form is already displaying now. We need to take the form binding object and we need to insert that record into table, and we need to display success message and failure message. Select star from counselor table, so no record is available. Select star from inquiry table, no record is available. So what we need to do now, we need to implement registration functionality. Already form is ready, register.html is already ready. Action post method / register counselor object, name, email, password, phone number. Go to controller. Let us create one post request method. Okay, handle registration, public string handle registration. So we are going to take counselor object as a parameter and we'll take model. Right now, so once the registration completed, I need to return same page here. I need to display the same page with the success or error message. So @post mapping / register. The URL pattern is the same because one is get request method, another one is post request. If you send a request to / register get request, empty form will be loaded. When you send post request with this URL, form submission will be handled. Okay, handle registration. Now object we are getting. So what we need to do now, we are going to call counselor service dot register that counselor. So service method is already available, is registered. I'm going to get the status. If it is registered, if it is true, that means registration is successful. Otherwise, the registration is failure. Right. I'm taking handle registration method. When this form is submitted, request will come to my controller method with the form data in the form of object. With that object, I am calling counselor service dot register method. So it is going to save the record into table and it will check counselor ID is generated or not. If a counselor ID is generated, it will return true. Otherwise, it will return false value. If it is true, is registered, that means what? Success. Right? Else, that means failure. Based on the status, we can send a success message or error message. Model dot add attribute. So it is a success message. Registration successful. Registration success. Now if it is a error message, then I will say that model dot add attribute key comma value, that is error message, failed to registration failed. Registration failed. Once the registration is completed, I'm sending the same page with the error message or success message. Error message or success message will be displayed on the same page. For login, I have
Sir,
taken two methods.
can you show the DAO class as well, sir?
One second, sir. I have taken one method for login to display the login page, one method to handle the login button. So here handle login button. Right. So one method is index method, which is used to display the empty page, empty login form, and one method to handle the login functionality. Once the login is valid, session will be created, counselor ID will be stored in the session, and we are redirecting the user to the dashboard page. So for registration also, I have taken two methods. One method to display empty registration page, one method to handle registration button. Okay, so when the registration is successful, you will get success message on the same page. If registration is failure, you will get the error message also on the same page. And one method is available, which is logout. So when you click on the logout button in the project, then session will be invalidated. We will remove the session and we will redirect the user back to login page. Are you clear with these two methods I have created now? One is a method to display register page. Another one is to handle user registration. A method to display the registration page, another method to handle the registration functionality. Anybody not able to understand the registration functionality? Anybody not able to understand the registration functionality?
Sir, I have a small doubt. Generally, we use request body annotation whenever the
Sir, forget
post
about the
request.
request body, response body, whatever that you are asking, right? That is related to
Uh-huh.
REST API.
Oh,
So this is not a
okay,
REST
sir.
API application.
Okay, got it, sir. This
Yeah.
is only just a web application.
Yep, web application. So if you are talking about request body, response body, those are related to REST APIs.
Sir, can
Okay,
we use
got
map
it,
in
sir.
place of model?
Sorry?
Can we use map in place of model?
Map means that is not WebMVC component, right? If you use a model, then only data will be rendered there. You can't use map.
Sir, in this, we are not checking duplicate email, right?
We will check that, sir. We will check this.
So difference between model and model attribute is what?
Model attribute I have not used it, sir. I will use it and I will tell you. As of now, I am using model. For now, you keep in mind, model is a map which is used to store the data in the form of key and value, and that is used to send the data from controller to UI.
So once can you show the href part in index.html?
Just we are giving the URL. href is equal to register. So whenever you click on this hyperlink, then it will go to this method, which will display empty registration page for you. The register page with the empty form, basically.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yep,
So
let's do the
later
registration
for
here. One logic is pending. We need to check the duplicate email. If the email is duplicate, we should not register. Okay, that we will handle. First, let's do some registration. Check it working or not. Click here to login. Click here to register. Name. I'm giving Ashok. Ashok@gmail.com. Some password. 1234. Some mobile number. I'm giving. Check in the database counselor table. Currently, there is no record available in the counselor table. Okay. Go here and click on register. Yes. We are getting a message. Registration got successful. Go to database. Select star from counselor table. Now my record is inserted. So I'm able to register successfully. ID is auto generated. My email ID and my password. Email ID ashok@gmail.com. Password I have given 1234. Registration success. Now go to login page. So give some wrong data. Give some wrong data. ashok@gmail.com. I will give wrong password. Okay. And I will click on login. I'm getting a message invalid credential. Now I will give valid password 1234 login. If login is successful, I am getting my dashboard page. It is under development. You got my point. So we are able to implement login and registration functionality. So in the registration, we need to do one more check, guys. Counselor should not register with the duplicate mail ID. Okay. So in the counselor service, let us see, do we have that method? Find by email method is available. Yes. Go to counselor controller. So in this controller, before doing the user registration, we need to check that email is duplicate or unique. So for this, I'm going to write like this: counselor service dot find by email. So counselor object is available. Counselor dot get email. With the given email ID, I am checking counselor object. By email, I am getting. If by email is not equal to null, that means record is already available. By email not equal to null, that means record is already available. Then I will set model.add attribute error message duplicate email. Then I will return registration page directly here. That's it. No need to execute the further logic. No need to execute the further logic. Okay. So here, whenever you do the user registration, you will enter the email ID and you will submit the form, right? Then I will check with the given email ID already counselor object is available or not. If available, that means it is a duplicate email and I will return the same page. If this condition is not satisfied, then only the remaining logic will be executed. So this is the logic to handle duplicate email check. So two counselors cannot register with the same email ID. So duplicate email check we need to have. So before going to do the registration, I am checking with that email ID already record is available or not. If it is available, stop it. Don't allow them to register. Duplicate email error message I'm sending back to the register page. So if this condition is satisfied, this logic will not execute. So if this condition is not satisfied, then only this logic will execute. Now let us do this check now. Already one counselor registered with the email ID ashok@gmail.com. Select star from counselor table. So ashok@gmail.com mail ID is available. Now go here, come back to the login page, click here to register. Name, I'm entering something like Raju. Email ID I'm giving duplicate and phone number I'm giving something. Click on register. We are getting duplicate email. So record is not accepted. Now go to database. Record is not inserted. There is only one record available. Now insert with another record, Raju@gmail.com, password some 5678, phone number. Click on register. Registration success for Raju. So select star from counselor table. Ashok account is created, Raju account is created. Suppose Raj Kumar is available, same email ID they are trying to register. It is not allowing. It is saying duplicate email. So when you are doing the registration, it is checking with that given mail ID, record is already available or not. If record is not available, you can't register. If record is available, you can't register. If record is not available, then only you can register. So with this, we are able to implement registration functionality and login functionality. So users are able to log in, users are able to register. Duplicate email ID we are not allowing. Then dashboard is pending and add inquiry, view inquiry part is pending. Okay. So in the tomorrow's class, we are going to work on dashboard functionality. Dashboard development is completed. Just UI page we need to design. Dashboard.html page is available. In this HTML, we need to display the data. We need to display the data in the dashboard. So in the dashboard page, we will give some menu also, add inquiry, view inquiry, logout functionality, some menus we are going to display. There we should have the option to add the inquiry, view the inquiries, and logout functionality will be available. So in the tomorrow session, we will design the dashboard and add inquiry, view inquiry pages with the filter. So today we completed two functionalities. One is user login, another one is user registration. So I want you people to complete these two functionalities. Before coming to tomorrow's session.
Sir, the code is available at from where we can pick up?
You need to try this code, sir. Code is not available anywhere. So you join this course to take the code or to learn how to develop the code?
No, sir. Just for the reference on the UI part.
नहीं भाई. You अब खुद से try करना पड़ेगा.
Sir,
Okay,
to
sir.
update the inquiry, we need
Sorry?
to create one edit page also.
I did not get your question.
Sir, to update the query, we need to create one edit page also.
To update?
Query. When we are getting from open query to enrolled query, so we need to create a separate page for edit option also.
Edit page?
Yes, sir. Edit page.
Inquiry edit?
Yes, sir. Inquiry edit. Separate
No need
page
to create separate page, sir. Tomorrow I will show you. Already we have add inquiry page now. There only we can edit the inquiry.
Okay.
Sir, can you show that find by email, sir, one other time? Where did we implement that find by email?
That is in the repository, sir. That is a find by method, basically.
Okay.
This is the method.
can you show the implementation, sir? One other.
Sir,
Just
find by methods
you.
means no implementation. Sir, this is JPA concept. JPA will prepare the query based on the method name.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So we don't need
This
to
is the
implement them.
interface.
JPA will take care of the implementation.
Right, sir. This is the. Can you go to the implementation class one, sir? I saw like one other line over there.
We are just calling the repository method.
Just a repository. Okay, sir. JP. Got it. Okay, sir.
So guys, so day by day, the code is getting increased. And I want you people to develop this code on your own. After listening to the class, so from 3-4 days, we are working on the same project. Line by line code I am writing in front of you. I have explained the requirement. I have explained database analysis. I have explained classes analysis. I am doing the coding in front of you line by line. Then also, if you are not able to develop this code on your own, then you need to think about your career. Still people are asking to share the code. So that means you are not confident to develop this project. So if I am completing the entire development in one session, then you can ask for the code. But I'm not doing complete development in one class. From when we are working on this project, guys? From how many days we are working on this project?
Last
Is
one
it
week.
one day
I think
task?
still
Almost
not,
from
sir.
4-5 days we are working on this, right?
Yes.
So one day I have given for requirement analysis. One day I have given for database analysis. One day time for classes methods analysis. And from 3 days we are doing the implementation. So after doing 1 week, one project, now also if you are not able to develop this on your own, then how you will survive as a developer in the company? If I give my code right, so if giving this code is not a problem for me, this is not a rocket science application. I can just upload it to GitHub and I can share it. But the problem, people will not use their brain to write the code. So whenever they get a problem, they will simply copy paste the code. So you need to improve your coding skill. You should be able to write this code on your own. That is important part. After this project is completed, I will share this code. So then if you try or if you don't try, then I can't do anything because I'm doing my job 100%. I'm giving the time for analysis. I'm giving the time for design. I'm giving the time for coding also. And I am doing the coding for you line by line. Live coding is there. I'm not executing previous example. Every line I am writing in front of you and I'm explaining why I am writing this code also. After this much explanation, also if you are unable to develop this project, then I can't help you guys. You need to think about it very seriously.
Just one question. For form based, in future will we use the tag lib, JQL tag kind of that one tag lib?
No, not required, sir. Whatever we are developing, this is fine, right? There is no tag lib, nothing. You are able to complete the task without tag lib also.
Yes.
Then why tag lib is required? Tag libs are required when you are using JSPs.
JSP, okay.
Yeah, we are not
so here
using
we are
JSP.
using Bootstrap, so no need.
Yeah, Bootstrap and time leaf.
Okay, got it.
The JSP is outdated.
JSP is outdated, sir, correct. And in the major project, this time leaf also will not be available. In the major project, Angular will be available. This is a mini project. I'm using time leaf.
So, sir, for time leaf, you added some dependency.
No, time leaf is pure HTML, not related to Java. So no need of any Maven dependencies. Just time leaf dependency I added, correct. So time leaf starter we added in the pom.xml. At the time of creating the project, right, we added time leaf. I think I have given that step in the notes also. What are the dependencies that we need to add for this project?
Sure, sir.
Okay, fine, guys. Thank you.
Sir, when we commit to the Git
client-side validation.
Sorry?
Sir, here you are doing client-side validation.
Yes, sir. Client-side validation is there.
Sir, when committing the code to the GitHub incrementally, do we need to every day do that git init and then git add, git commit, git remote, and git push, all
Init we
those
don't
5
do
steps,
every
sir?
time, sir. Init we will not do every time. Every day we will check the status, we will add and we'll commit and we'll push.
Means just add and commit and push, right,
Push,
sir?
correct.
Do we need to give the branch name or origin name like that, sir, when we
Not
push?
required, sir.
Okay. Because when I try to do, I'm getting some errors, sir. I'm trying that.
So we'll check that error. So first you complete this project in your local. Okay.
Right, sir.
When we are, I will also commit this project to the Git. Once all the implementation is completed, I will push my code to the Git repository. Then you can
when I just do git add dot, right, sir, it says fatal not a Git repository or any of the
Then
parent
you need
repository.
to
When I go,
initialize that repository, sir.
okay, well, we have to do again and again, sir,
Initialize.
because yesterday I did it, sir, but again it's asking.
Sir, I need to check what is the mistake you are doing, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll check it, sir.
I will check it.
Yeah.
Fine, guys. Thank you. I'm stopping now. We'll meet again tomorrow. I'm requesting all of you, please complete whatever we are doing in the class. So whatever the task I'm doing in the class, please try to complete this task on your own. So mostly tomorrow and day after tomorrow, our first mini project will be completed. Okay. I need to develop 2 other pages. Okay. Mostly tomorrow or else day after tomorrow, our project will be completed. After this project is completed, I will check everybody assignment. Everybody should complete this project on your own and you need to show me. If all of you complete the first mini project, then only I will go for the second mini project. Otherwise, the classes will be delayed. So if everybody complete the first mini project, then only I can start the second mini project, right? Second mini project is more complex than first mini project. So please keep that in mind and take it seriously and try to complete the task. We have only 2 days of time. So in these 2 days, I will complete my first mini project. When I am completing, that means you should also complete parallelly. So you need to show me. One day I will check all your code. If all of you complete, then only we will start the second mini project. Otherwise, we will wait. Time will be wasted for you guys. Please keep that in mind. Thank you.
Sir, when I did the git init, it worked, sir. But
sir, I will check,
when
sir.
I
What is the mistake you are doing? I will check it, sir. Okay. Tomorrow
okay,
or
sir,
the day
okay,
after
sir.
tomorrow, I will check your issue.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah. First, you do the coding and keep it in your local. How to push it? I will see your system. What is the problem is there? I will resolve that problem.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.